Hello and welcome to March to the Pod, presented by Eternal Roofing. It's roofing that you can trust with your home, just like you kind of sort of trust. You trust Ben with Bearkat Sports, let's be honest.
I feel like we've gotten a little more trust last week. I feel like the listener sentiment has shifted slightly.
A little bit, and you know what? They showed some of that could pay off, and that's what we're going to talk about that today. This is season 3, episode 12. We've got marketing wins. Believe it or not, if they do well, we're going to celebrate it. Today we get to celebrate some. And then we got to talk about the Bearkats, New Mexico State. We got preview and predictions. I'm your host, producer. Once banned, they can't mute me over at catfans.com. And I believe in 2 things plus another thing or 2. Cory Hogue. You can find me on social media. It's all one word, at Cory Hogue Sports, CoryHogue Sports. And don't forget to check out my new Substack, Cory Hogue Sports, where I cover Texas non-FBS football every week. And as always, I'm joined by the wizard behind Sports of SHSU, all one word, on Twitter and Instagram, the COO of the Cat Fund and proud Bearkat himself, Ben Sorrells. And Benjamin, we're opening today with some changes, but some good news with it.
Yeah, good news. It was maybe a little bit of a disappointing weekend on the court for volleyball. Obviously, a very good UTEP team they played, but off the court and in the Coliseum, there were definitely some positives.
And we will get into that. We will in our next segment. But right now, we've got to tell you about the bright idea that I had yesterday, proposed this morning, and tried to get all done in one day while getting a show ready. And it's called a Substack for March to the Pod. I get a bright idea, I'm me. We have a Substack. You can find us now. March to the Pod, the number 2, .substack.com. You're going to find all of the podcasts there. But listen, nothing should change for those of you who get your podcasts on Apple, Spotify, etc. If it does, please let me know. I will get it corrected as soon as possible. It's been an integration process. You still have the Podbean. We still have the Podbean account too, as long as it goes. But then everything will eventually integrate and shift over to our Substack. But what it does, this allows us an opportunity to expand our coverage of the Bearkats, to give you more things than just what you get on the podcast. There's far more than we could cover in a full hour.
Oh yeah,
and that gives us
yeah, far more than I can put out in a tweet too.
Exactly, and this gives us, Ben especially, because he's the knower here, chances to talk about all of it. Like the soccer team, right? The soccer team's done well.
Yeah, really well.
Yeah, a post could come out about that. And occasionally, I might even write something, and you can tell me how ugly I am. So it all works. Now, clarification, this will not conflict with Cat Fund or the exclusive Cat Fund section on catfans.com. In fact, everybody subscribes right now, for free. Eventually, and we're talking future, that could change. But for now, everything is free. But it will not conflict with the Cat Fund section. If you are part of the exclusive Cat Fund section over on catfans.com, it will not be there. But posts that have been on Cat Fund, after they become public, we're going to put them on the Substack. And if you subscribe to our Substack, every show, as soon as it's completed, within an hour after its conclusion, every show, everything written will be sent to your email inbox as long as you want to receive it. There's a lot of positives with this, and also it does make my life a tad bit easier dealing with Substack over trying to deal with 2 or 3 or 4 different platforms. Subscribers, inbox. I'm telling you, your email inbox. That's been a big thing since I started my Substack that I've noticed. There's a few that don't want those posts all the time. That's fine. That's up to you. But within an hour of the conclusion of the show, you will have a post, typically within an hour, I say typically, you never know what could happen. But you will have it in your inbox, and as soon as something is published on the Substack page, a text post, that will also arrive in your inbox. Also, we have a chat. Everyone, everyone who subscribes can come into the chat, start a new thread, tell me what you think of my status as certified Sam Houston hater, and all those good things. And I'll moderate some, but I mean, I don't really have feelings, so it's hard to hurt those.
Right. Yeah, and the content on my end should go up here in probably the next week or two. It has been, and I was talking about it before, a crazy last month for me. I out of town for the last 5 weekends, and our biggest fundraiser of the year is this weekend, which is a ton of legwork. So content side will definitely go up in the next couple weeks. It's just been a ton of travel for work and different things, and our biggest fundraiser of the year, and then we'll hit the ground running again.
Josh is watching on YouTube. The burners appreciate the two things propaganda push. I'm here. I'm here for the burners. They know we've got a good relationship. It's love-hate, right?
Yeah. More hate, but a little bit of love. There is
I love
some.
them. They hate me. It works perfectly.
Yep.
Jonathan Buckner also watching on YouTube. Thank you to everyone watching right now and listening. What will be different on M2TP Substack versus Cory's? Great question. Everything. The stuff that's on my Substack will not be on the March to the Pod Substack. March to the Pod Substack will be its own entity. It will have every podcast episode we do. Like I said, it'll be on there. There will be written posts. Right now, it's going to take us a minute, right? Because, like Ben said, he's crazy busy with work, and I'm right in the middle of covering non-FBS football season. But as all that kind of slows down, I can get into writing more on there. Ben will write more on there here, probably well before I get into writing some more on there. And we could talk about those things like the soccer program and the volleyball program, which, by the way, last week, something really great happened.
Yes.
And we need to talk about that. But first, you also need to listen to something. Wow, what a great job. You also need to hear about our friends over at Eternal Roofing.
Eternal Roofing and General Contracting is your choice for integrity work in the Texas Hill Country. Taylor Andrus and crew provide experienced quality roofing services with a mission of roofing with faith, serving with integrity, and sheltering homes in the spirit of stewardship. Don't just take our word for it. Here's what satisfied customer Pamela Allen had to say about Eternal Roofing. They did a great job on our patio roof, came out quick for a quote. The quote was very reasonable, and they started and finished work well and quickly. Not a bad thing to say about Eternal Roofing. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539, or you can email them taylor@eternalroofingtx.com.
Thank you so much to our friends over at Eternal Roofing. And last week, Benjamin, we discussed ways to help Bobby, right? Ways to make things better. And lo and behold, this had nothing to do with what we talked about last week. I'm not going to pretend that spurred anything, especially so quick. But we saw what marketing and promotion can actually do when you do it properly.
Yes.
And it happened with the volleyball program. Let's break down. I want to break down some numbers. I went through and decided that I'm going to give you facts that I call numbers. The previous high attendance before their game last Saturday, or match last Saturday against UTEP, was 499 people. That was against Louisiana Monroe. The Friday match against the Miners, 475 Cats faithful attended. Now, I get it. Some of these attendance figures are, put my thumb in the air and see what it looks like. But still, it's fairly representative of how many people are showing up. Through 8 home matches, the first 8, this is through last Friday, 2,885 people had attended a volleyball match at Johnson Coliseum. Then something strange happened. They marketed, they promoted Saturday's match, and by golly, Benjamin, they drew 1,069 fans, more than double their previous high for the year in one match.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, how did they do that?
Yeah, it was a combination of a couple things. The first one is it was family weekend, parents weekend, and you played into it. And I think you need to, because you do it once a semester typically. And it's a great way to get people involved. And it was really the only, I mean, there was a soccer game on campus too, but everybody's there on Saturday, especially midday when the game was. So you need to play into it. I think it's great that they kind of made it maybe the biggest event on campus of the day, and people showed up. So that was part of it, number one. And then number two, they had the Bearkat Alley set up.
Yes.
Very similar to a football game. Obviously, it wasn't the full setup that you would see for football, but it was a decent setup down there at Bearkat Alley. And it's all about getting people to show up for things other than just the game, you know. And they did that. Family weekend, you found a way to get them to show up. Bearkat Alley got them involved pregame, got them over to the Coliseum. And I mean, 1,069, it may not sound a lot, but that was kind of like your average men's basketball attendance last year. I mean, you didn't even draw that for some conference home games in men's basketball. So it's an impressive number and shows things can move in the right direction when you put in a little bit of effort.
It is significant. It's a significant number for Sam Houston. And those things work. Like you said, you have to give them a reason to come other than just the game. For years, the Texas Rangers, even when they're not great now, obviously. They're not in the playoffs, but neither are the Astros. You're welcome. We hit a batter for you. For years, when they were at their worst, they had dollar hot dog Wednesdays. They still do. You know why they still have it? Because people go to that game for a dollar hot dog. And they might buy 5. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's a dollar hot dog day. You do little things like that, goes a long way. So the question is, it having over 1,000 fans, did it work? Did it help?
Yeah.
Well, let's look at what happened. Last Friday, Cats played UTEP.
A UTEP team that might win the conference this year.
No, they're good. They're
Yeah.
good. Like, this is not one that you think, oh, we're going to win. No. This is a solid UTEP team. And the Cats fell in 3 sets. Pretty quick, pretty easy. The closest set was 25-18. That's the closest set on Friday. But on Saturday, when they marketed, they promoted, they had Bearkat Alley, it's tremendous. I love hearing that stuff. Guess what? Cats took UTEP to 4 sets, and 3 of the sets were decided by 5 points or less. The largest spread was the first set where the Miners won 25-17. It matters. You made a difference. You helped your team. You helped your program. You gave a home court advantage. Please, let's do more of this.
Yes. The Bearkat Alley kind of setup needs to be out there, obviously, for every football game. We're not at Bowers this year, and it will be there for all football games. But, I mean, starting when students are back mid-late January, you need it every weekend. There's going to be a men's basketball game, a women's basketball game, a softball game, a baseball game. One of those 4 going on in the spring. You just need to throw out a bunch of tents, have a couple vendors come through. The different colleges at the university will typically cook out, just have them rotate through and make it an event. Everybody goes to tailgate, and then they go to the softball game, or everybody tailgates and they go to the men's basketball game, whatever it is. I mean, you got to make it more than just a game, and I think it's a step in the right direction, and hopefully they can continue that trend. And they typically will do one tailgate for basketball, one tailgate for baseball during the year, so hopefully they can maybe up that a little bit. And those are typically the games that are the most attended. So had never done it for volleyball. It worked there. Works for other sports. You just got to continue to lean into it.
Do it more. What does it cost you to set that up?
Probably nothing. You're the university, so it doesn't really. I mean, you might have to move around parking a little bit for an afternoon or something,
Okay.
but people set up their own tents, bring their own food, bring their own TVs, whatever it might be. But yeah, I feel like if you can carve out a section somewhere on campus every Saturday in the spring, and just have people set up and then go out to whatever game is there that day, because there's going to be some sort of game in the spring every Saturday.
Using the Texas Rangers as an example again, one of the things that they lost, and I hate that it was lost when they built Globe Life. When they had the old ballpark and they had the parking right across from that youth baseball field where home plate was set up, where Arlington Stadium's home plate was, right? And they had events or whatever. You would go to a game if you got there at 5 o'clock on a Saturday for a 7 o'clock game. People are lined up in that parking lot before 5 o'clock. They've got lawn chairs out. They've got the grill out. They've got the adult brews out. They've got that going, and it creates an atmosphere of inclusivity, right? Like, you want to be a part of things like that. And if you can set this up, and like you said, have a couple of student groups set up some grills. Student groups, it would benefit them too, right?
Oh yeah,
They need people to join. This is a great way to get them to join.
yeah.
It's something that worked. It's something that can work. And oh goodness, you're in Huntsville, Texas in February, March, when it starts to warm up a little bit. February, March, April, you got the softball and baseball games going each weekend. It should be a party atmosphere 2 hours before that game every single Saturday.
100%. Yeah.
And Sunday and Sunday. Hey,
Yeah.
look, not everybody goes to church. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, and sometimes every once in a while there's a basketball game too, and
Yeah.
there's always something going on. And I think we hit this point pretty well. There was another thing that I saw on the soccer Instagram on Sunday. They played Louisiana Tech at 1. It was the Conference USA opener, and there's 4 home games in Conference USA for the soccer team. There is a loyalty card that was given out. It looks like, and it has each of the 4 home games on there, and it says attend the remaining conference matches and receive a prize. So I don't know what the prize is. It really wasn't marketed. I think it's a great idea. It's something I brought up last week or 2 weeks ago, but it's good to see that they embraced that. I just hope they play into it a little more, but it's a step in the right direction that they're at least trying something.
The one thing I've always kind of laughed about when it comes to baseball, football, Fan Appreciation Day. It shouldn't be a day. Every day is Fan Appreciation Day.
Yeah.
And when you're encouraging them to continue to show up and you do those things, loyalty matters, right? Loyalty matters. You build the loyalty with them. You give them a reason to be loyal to you. And then it doesn't have to be a huge prize. But, you know, I mean, it could be as much as a voucher, $10 voucher at the last game of the season for concessions.
Yeah.
Right? People would do that. There are things to do, and I am very, very happy to see them start kind of moving in that direction, and we hope that it continues.
Yes.
If you're enjoying this show, help us grow by rating and reviewing March to the Pod on your favorite podcast platform. It matters. Trust me, it matters and helps so much. And don't forget, we got a new Substack page now, so go subscribe. March to the pod.substack.com. March the number 2, the pod.substack.com. And also, hey, if you are a subscriber already to Cory Hogue Sports, to my Substack, and you want me to, I can integrate you over to the new one. Just let me know. Or you can go push the subscribe button. Either way, I'm willing to do that work. If you want to do it, that's great as well. Also, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. by searching for March to the Pod. March the number 2, the Pod. Don't forget, we are a member of the Conference USA Podcast Roundtable. They've got shows that cover all 12 CUSA programs. Give them a watch. Give them a follow. Rate, support. We appreciate it greatly. And speaking of support that we appreciate greatly, let's hear some more from our friends over at Eternal Roofing.
Eternal Roofing only uses the finest materials in the roofing business while providing an exceptional warranty. Why do they use CertainTeed products? Because they complement any appearance, provide exceptional and reliable strength, and are known for their enduring performance. Here's what Shane Sosa had to say about Eternal Roofing. Taylor and his team are amongst the highest level of professionals. They care about their customers and go above and beyond just doing the job. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539 or email Taylor at eternalroofingtx.com.
Yeah, football this week.
Only game on tomorrow night in college football.
In college football. Let's be real. It ain't the only game because there isn't. Who is playing in the NFL tomorrow night?
Oh, gosh, I have no idea.
It doesn't matter because the Cats are on.
Yeah, I haven't even thought of
question, Benjamin.
And I passed, surprisingly.
Yes, you did. 8 p.m. Thursday night, the Bearkats travel to Las Cruces, New Mexico. Not as pretty as Albuquerque, just saying. They're facing the New Mexico State Aggies on CBS Sports Network. Jack Gordon will be play-by-play. And my man, Taylor McHargue, is the analyst. Taylor, I've met him before. He was the former quarterback at Rice. Did you know that?
I did growing up as a U of H fan around my dad's side of the family. I remember playing that Rice team.
Yeah, Taylor's awesome. He's a good dude. All-time series between the Cats and the Aggies is tied at 1-1. Last year, Sam Houston got the better of New Mexico State, 31-11. 27-13, the Aggies won in 2023 in Las Cruces. So the Cats have never won in Las Cruces. However, they're 3-2 all-time against teams from the state of New Mexico. They're 1-1 against New Mexico State, 1-1 against New Mexico. It's a whole different thing. Apparently, I learned that today or something. And they're 1-0 against Eastern New Mexico. The Lone Star Conference Greyhounds right there.
Powerhouse.
No, not powerhouse. Yeah, no, not at all. The Aggies are 2-0 at home this year. They are trying to move to 3-0 at home for only the third time since 1992.
Wow.
But before you start going, oh, okay, they're 13-7 at home since the start of 2022. They've not been bad at home. A win also would be the first time New Mexico State has won 3 of its first 5 games in a season since 2008.
Not even Diego Pavia could save them.
Not even Diego could win 3 of the first 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are 5-2 in midweek games since joining Conference USA 2 years ago. And the Cats get reunited with former defensive coordinator Joe Morris and Jared Hensley. Morris is in his second season, so is Hensley, in the same role as defensive coordinator for the Aggies, and Hensley followed Morris to Las Cruces after he spent 8 seasons at Sam Houston. He is the linebackers coach, which he also was for the Cats. Now, here's a stat for you. Only 19 players on this year's New Mexico State roster played in last year's game.
A lot of turnover on both sides.
Yes, both sides. So, we're going to go and rewind just a little bit, and we're going to listen to what head coach Phil Longo said about some takeaways, positive takeaways they gained from playing the game at Texas.
There's a silver lining to everything, and so what we wanted to do was figure out what can we take out of this experience against Texas that can help us moving forward. And probably the biggest thing is, and I told the guys prior to playing the game, games like this are typically very revealing, and maybe in some of those one-on-one battles we were talking about, we saw some guys that just kept fighting. And for instance, Colt Dietrich did a really good job against two very good defensive ends over the course of the game. He actually graded out fairly solid, and that bodes well for Colt. That tells us a lot about Colt, tells us what he's capable of. And as you go down the line, and I don't mean the O line, but you go down the line on the roster, and you evaluate each one of them with regards to their performance, there's all kinds of things we obviously would like to improve on and get better. Some of them were talent-driven, but some of them were our own self-inflicted mistakes. Also wanted to see if the game was too big for us in terms of with so many new players and so many new players that haven't started before, just how they would react and respond. And we're now into week 4. It was week 4 game, so you'd think you have some guys that probably would respond a little bit better than they would early in the year when they're starting for the first time in their college career. So we went back and we evaluated and we took as much as we could possibly take out of this game to help us moving forward. And with regards to moving forward, I'd say this, I always refer to this season in 2 ways. Because of my boxing background and we play a 12-game season, I look at it as a 12-round fight here.
I learned what I didn't know about Phil Longo from his last sentence.
Oh, well, I knew about it a little bit just because I know some people around him. He gets up at like 3 or 4 and go runs and then does a boxing workout like every morning. So I knew a little bit about that, but it's the first time I think he's talked about it publicly.
I didn't know he had a boxing background. It explains a lot about his personality. I mean, yes, stereotypes are not always fair, but there's a reason it's called a stereotype, and not saying he fits perfectly into a box. That's never going to happen. But it provides me a little insight into Phil Longo. And also, he's not wearing black.
Wow.
I thought Johnny Cash was that. But no, Phil Longo, he wore gray.
We've got me and you are in a group message that I need to send that in because I did not notice that, and I was on the call the other day for it.
Yeah, he did not wear black. That was the first thing I noticed when I heard it.
I can't believe, I didn't notice that. And another thing too, the not quitting part. I think that was, and we talked about that last week. I don't think the attitude was probably as good as it could have been for a blowout loss like it was. Another element that touches on some of the stuff you said before the last break with Hensley and Joe Morris. Not a lot of these guys, if any, really played for them, but last year I know it was a big to-do going up against them because there was an article that came out where Joe Morris said the ceiling is higher at New Mexico State than it will ever be at Sam Houston, and that was part of why he left. So I know that was a little bit of a motivating factor last year. Obviously not a lot of the last year's roster guys that were with him are here, but that was a big part of last year's matchup.
Did somebody check Morris for drugs on that one?
I don't know.
Dude, that's wild, man. To think that the ceiling is high. Please, man.
I'll have to find it and send it to you.
There's a lot of things you could tell me about New Mexico State versus Sam Houston that I'd probably believe. That's not one of them.
Yeah.
That ain't happening.
It was interesting.
Oh, so it's a 12-round fight. And Longo went on a little bit more and mentioned how, again, it's a third of the way through the season. And every goal that the Cats had entering 2025 is still in reach. Here's what he had to say.
You can lose the first 4 rounds sometimes, and you can still win the fight. And that's something that we want to take what we learned from the first 4 games. We've got to keep growing, which we have done. We need to maintain discipline and stick to the process here. And that is, it's working for us in terms of we're getting better each week. What we need to do is put together a full 4-quarter game. so that the result at the end is what we want it to be. And that, the other thing I think we approach the season, and I've done this for a long time, is in a 12-week season, is we look at it in 4-game blocks: first third, middle third, last third. And for one third to be important, you've got to take care of business in the one previous to that. And so the interesting thing with this is we're heading into the middle third of our season, and it is only the beginning of the Conference USA season. We have only played one conference game to date, and so now we're about, with the exception of Oregon State, the rest of our season is in conference. And so we still know winning Game 5 makes Game 6 more important. And so we're focused on New Mexico State, but I think the guys are in a mental reset right now, and we're focused on what we can do now that we're inside of the conference. And we still have 2 goals this year, and they're both on the table, and so that's what we're charging forward towards.
That is exactly what I want to hear coming out of that Texas game, right? They need that kind of reset, that recharge. And you sent me this while the video was going. Quote, "What we're able to do for our players is so much more," Morris said. "Our players eat better here. We have more resources in terms of recruiting here." That might be true, but eating better, that means you're fatter, right? It means you're better on the field.
Talent pool is a little different in New Mexico than it is in the Houston DFW Hill Country area.
Think about it. We have more recruiting resources. Yeah, and you're in the middle of blinking nowhere.
Yeah.
I've been there. I know. It's like forever to get to Arizona, where they've got talent, and it's forever to get to Texas, where they've got talent. How much talent's in New Mexico? Not
if this was basketball, I'd probably agree. It's
if it was basketball, you can get them from all over.
Right.
Basketball's
in the tradition,
no longer an in-state recruiting thing.
Yeah. So that was a very interesting. He said the higher ceiling thing, and then those were the reasons he mentioned for the higher ceiling. So very interesting. And then back to Longo's thing. This is exactly what we talked about last week. He said there's thirds of the season, and the next third won't matter if you don't take care of business in this third. And we hit on that exactly. I said if they win this game, I could see probably 3 wins. If they don't, then I can start to see the locker room start to collapse a little bit. Maybe you're pushing towards 0 wins. So it's a big game, and it makes the games behind it matter more if you can show up and win this one.
This game is so important. It really will be a bellwether for the rest of this season. If they win this, like you said, it could really propel them. Or it could send them the other way, which we don't want. We don't want that at all right now. Even me, certified hater, doesn't want to see us slide, trust me.
Yeah.
So then our own Ben Sorrells was on the call, and he asked Longo a question about what he'd like to see from the wide receiver room. Let's listen to what he said, and then this is going to be a fun one to talk about.
No question, we're looking to get them involved. I think we have a battle going. We haven't really had a wide receiver just separate themselves as the guy, and typically by this point you do, and we haven't. And so we like where a number of them are from a developmental standpoint, but we would like to see a guy just take the bull by the horns and separate themselves from the rest of the room and be that go-to one-on-one player that every team would like to have. We have some guys, particularly at the wideout spot, that do have the athletic ability to be that guy. And so I think what we want heading into New Mexico State is to try to isolate some situations from an X's and O standpoint on offense where we can just get the ball into their hands. One of the examples I think of is Tim Burns catching an alert hitch against UNLV and then making a guy miss and going the distance. I can't remember whether it was a hitch or a quick out, but it was just a quick, easy now shot that they gave up based on alignment. And, we got to see what Tim can do after he catches the football. And so you want to get into some situations where we get them the football, we get the ball in their hands with a little bit of space so that we can, reap the benefits from this athletic ability that I think a number of them have after the catch.
I don't give a damn about anything but getting that ball to those wide receivers.
Yeah.
You have guys like Tim Burns who can take the top off of defense. He's super fast. You've got guys like Michael Phoenix, Quavez Humphrey. They can be your possession guys. Go across the middle, slants. I don't give a damn what that route was called. I do not care. The fact is you got it to him in space. Now, he did mention it's based off reading the defense. He's correct. So if they're going to come up and press you and say, beat us deep, then send one of your burners down the field and beat them deep.
Yeah. He said, and like you said, you got to find a way to get him the ball some sort of way, whether that's screens, quick little slants over the middle, sweeps, end arounds. You've got to find ways to get these guys the ball because I think they're struggling creating separation, whether that's on them, they're just not able to, or the scheme of the offense. You've just got to find ways to get them the ball because Tim Burns, Grady O'Neal has even flashed at times this year. Derek Bledsoe has had a route or two where he's beat a guy and they've had to hold him for a defensive holding. We've seen what Quavez Humphreys and Michael Phoenix can do with the ball in their hands, and so I don't know if it's an issue if they just can't create separation or the scheme isn't getting them open, but you've just got to find ways to get them the ball because some of your most athletic and gifted players are your receivers and they're not really touching the ball right now.
They are not. Josh, watching on YouTube, said he was really hoping Quavez would take a leap.
Yeah,
I think he still can.
I think he can, and this is something we saw him really flash at the beginning of last year. Hawaii game, the Rice game, and in camp last year he was amazing. The biggest thing for him is consistency in blocking, in his footwork, in his route running. Against WKU, he ran a great route. I think it was in the third quarter, and he just dropped it with his the ball catching ability. He's just got to find a way to put it together because he might be the most athletic guy on the field, and he gets a lot of snaps, and he's out there a lot. He's just got to find a way to put it together.
Josh also chimes in and says Avion is pretty fast too.
He's another one. Yeah.
We did some. Yes, listen. Phil Longo is an offensive coach. And I know, again, we like to put labels in air raid, and he scoffs at it, and I do too. I don't believe it. You've got to get something vertical. You've got to and sometimes to get something vertical, you've got to throw short. It's not always about getting that running game going. You can use your wide receivers to supplement your running game. Screen passes, like you said, tunnel screens up the middle. Get a couple blockers out there. Let them make a little room. Those are things you can do, especially when you have an offensive line that may struggle a bit too, right?
Yep.
You got to keep – you can't – when you do things like that, you're slowing the defense down. You're making them think. And when players are thinking – they're not reacting and moving as fast. That's the key.
Yeah.
So get those guys out in space. Get them the ball. That's what I want to see tomorrow night.
Yeah, and another guy we haven't touched on who I think could be an X factor, and he's showed a little bit this year, is Malik Phillips. Fits into that slot receiver role that plays into the air raid a lot. He had a huge game at New Mexico 2 years ago, over 100 receiving yards and a touchdown. I think he's the only player on the roster from New Mexico, so maybe a guy to watch this week.
Maybe. So, had a little time off. Let's get an injury update from Coach Longo.
So with regards to Jameer Diaz, we thought it was going to be serious. It's not, so he's on a day-to-day deal right now. And Mabry has been fully cleared, so he practiced yesterday and the day before. So on those two fronts, we're in good shape right now.
So with those two players, what other injuries should we be worried about right now?
Yeah, obviously the Diaz one is probably a really big one. He only played 13 snaps, was in a boot after the game, so we'll see there. Alton McGaskill, his situation is kind of up in the air. We haven't really gotten a definitive update, so we'll see. But we will get injury reports for this game. It is a Conference USA game, so we will get a little bit of clarity pregame, which is nice. But Alton McGaskill, Jameer Diaz are two to watch. Another one is Cecil Powell, safety. He did not play against Texas, so we'll see what he looks like. He was a big part of the rotation in the secondary, so you're not injury free. There's definitely a couple notable names, and New Mexico State has a couple notable names too, which I'll bring up in a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Let's
Yeah.
get the injuries out there.
Yeah, their starting center is out for a second straight game. Can't remember his name off the top of my head. Their defensive tackle is going to miss. Their starting defensive tackle will miss the first half due to an ejection.
Their names aren't important. They're Aggies.
He'll miss the first half due to an ejection in the second half of last week's game against New Mexico. And then the most notable one, Tyler Martinez, their star linebacker and captain, he will be out, was hurt during their last game. So, yeah, I mean, a couple notable injuries on their end also.
Yes. Okay. So you mentioned the injury report and stuff. How much stock can we actually put into that from Sam Houston's side? Because as we know, some coaches are more revealing with injuries and more willing to talk about them than others. Longo is not one that likes to discuss and disclose that. Can we really glean anything from the injury report?
I think you can, because I don't think you can really lie on it. You might list a ton of guys as questionable. I think that's probably the biggest way to cover some things up. But yeah, I think they have to have a certain designation within an hour of kickoff time, whether it's out or in. So yeah, I don't know how much you can hide really. WKU has put no players on theirs like for every game, I believe, so far this year. So maybe they're skirting it a little bit, but everything else, including our first game against WKU, James Don was listed as out like an hour and a half before the game. So I think what they put out there is pretty true.
Yeah, remember Belichick? He used to put everybody on the roster on the injury report like a hangnail for Brady or something like that.
Yeah.
Coaches like to play games with some of this stuff. I'm not saying that Longo does. I'm just saying he does not like to disclose that stuff.
And not a lot of people do. And I feel like he's been more open in the press conferences the last few weeks, and he's definitely been more open, not about the injuries, but just about the roster and where things are, which I think we definitely appreciate on our end. Outside of the quarterbacks are healthy coming into Texas. But everything besides that, I think it's gotten better the last few weeks. It's a part of being a new head coach, and you just got to continue to grow with it.
He's not wearing black in that press conference.
I know. I can't wait.
Steps.
Yeah, I can't wait to send that text in that one group message we're in.
Those are small steps, but they're important steps. And these are steps you expect. Look, he's going to grow and learn this year, right? Like that's part of this year for him too. Even no matter what age you can learn, and he is definitely learning as well. Now, fully turn our attention to those hated New Mexico State Aggies out there in Las Cruces. Here's what Longo had to say about New Mexico State.
Well, I know in the past they've had instability at quarterback, from last season that looked like they played 4 or 5 different guys. This year they've got that kind of narrowed down a little bit. I think they like the guy they're playing now. There's more continuity offensively with them. Defensively, the DC that's there now is the DC that was here at Sam Houston, I believe, in 23. And so he's been at New Mexico State for 2 years. I know a number of coaches there, including the head coach and the linebackers coach. Both are friends and people that I respect. And so, I know the coaching job that they do. And defensively, they're extremely multiple. They may be the most multiple back-end coverage defense we've seen to date this year.
So, one thing he didn't touch on, but I think is a very important piece coming into this game. And I'm not expecting you to touch on it either. This is just me looking at this from the outside. They played their rival New Mexico last week, which, by the way, he sold out in Albuquerque. Just
the Jason Eck effect.
I'm sorry, who?
The Jason Eck effect.
Who would have thought that he was a good coach? I don't know anybody who said, hey, he's a great coach. Anyhow, saying about me tooting my own horn. But they played Saturday, and they played a good New Mexico State team. They got beat. It was a rivalry game. They are on a very, very short turnaround. I think that matters.
Oh, 100%, especially with it being a rivalry game, and you were on the road for your rivalry game.
Yep. Even if it's just a few hours up the road.
Yeah, it takes a lot out if you're playing at someone else's place.
Jason Plunkett watching on YouTube. Thank you so much for chiming in. He says, don't you love when Longo plays coaches geography? He knows folks at every school. Jason, as you probably well know, most coaches know people. It's a fraternity, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It is a small world when you know coaches. I will get things from FCS coaches that are asking me about FB because they know that some of the people I know will know FBS coaches. It is such a small circle of even though the number seems quite large, they all know each other and they all go to coaching schools and all that kind of stuff together.
Yeah.
Block can also ask, were there any fights off the field at New Mexico State? Isn't that where the whole debacle started?
Yeah.
I'm not aware.
Nothing happening in the practice facility logo this year.
Not. I'm not. Yeah. We're not touching that. That's for other people. So, what else do we need to know about the Aggies?
Yeah, they feel like they've settled on a quarterback in Logan Fifey. I'm still not really settled on him. They've played really well at home. They beat Tulsa at home a few weeks ago. The defense has flashed at times. I mean, they dominated FCS Bryant. They looked really good against Tulsa. Looked good against Louisiana Tech for about 2.5, 3 quarters. So I think there's potential there, but they are missing 2 key pieces on defense. Offense doesn't really excite me a lot. I think Fifey's ceiling just isn't that high. And I think it's a team that you've got a similar talent base to, if not you're more talented on paper. But the game is played on grass, so we'll see how it plays out.
Today, I flipped my I have one of those big day calendar pages because I'm old and I just want to know the day and the month. And it said October, Ben.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what that means?
It's almost Christmas.
It's almost Christmas. What does that mean to those of us who love Eternal Roofing?
Got to get on that schedule.
You would bet. If you want lights, you might already be running out of time. You are running out of time. You might already have been out of time. You might want to give them a call right now. And here's how you can do it.
Eternal Roofing is locally owned and dedicated to giving back to the community by supporting local organizations and charities. They are also the winner of Next Door's Neighborhood Faves for 2 consecutive years. And as you know, if you've listened to this podcast, Eternal Roofing is your choice for Christmas lights. They provide premium lights tailored to fit your home, season-long maintenance, and hassle-free removal. Kyle Tatum said, they're very professional and great quality, on time and clean, and really made me feel like they cared for me and my home. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539, or you can email taylor@eternalroofingtx.com.
Before we get into our predictions, which are going to be interesting this week, I'm going to turn this over to you, Benjamin, for an update from Cat Fund.
Oh, yeah. A lot going on. Our auction casino night and golf tournament is this weekend in Huntsville. There is still some spots available, especially on the casino side. We are pretty much sold out for golf. So if you want tickets, you can go to let me get the link there. But yeah, a lot of good stuff going on. All the proceeds go to our men's basketball team, Cat. It's givebutter.com/catfund2025. Givebutter.com/catfund2025.
We like butter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. A lot of really cool stuff. Top chip winners get different trips to Vegas and Hot Springs, different places with casinos. We've got a lot of really cool auction items, different trips with the team for the season, trips to Maine for vacation, hunting trips, fishing trips, a lot of really cool stuff. So you definitely want to be there. A lot of good silent auction items as well. But yeah, a lot going on this weekend. Big fundraiser for our men's basketball team. Excited to see what they look like. We'll also get to be around the players and coaches, see their scrimmage Saturday afternoon, have some some information from just seeing what I get to see this weekend. It'll be a lot going on, but it'll be a good weekend.
Is there any chance some of that that some of that can make its way eventually over to the March to the Pod Substack?
Yeah, Cat Fun Forum over to the Substack and everything in between.
There
Should
you
be
go.
should be a lot of good content until I know this weekend has provided kind of a glimpse into what the team will look like. For me, the last 2 years, 2 years ago, that year that they won the regular season, I mean, you could tell the staff was high on this team. And last year, a lot of injuries and stuff, you kind of knew that was coming. And then I've heard some really good things this year, like I mentioned last week, but we'll get a better look at things Friday and Saturday.
cat-fun.com or givebutter.com/catfun 2025, right? Did I get that right?
Let me look. It's givebutter.com/catfun2025. Yeah.
Oh man, how about that memory?
Yeah, there you go. Get your tickets.
Even in my advanced age. Yeah, dude, that is fantastic.
Yes. Steak dinner, live auction, casino night, silent auction items, everything in between.
You're speaking my love language. You talk about gambling, flipping not flipping. Losing my money. That's what you do when I go gambling.
Running the tables, not flipping them.
Oh, I don't flip them because I ain't got the money to pay for it after I've already lost it all. Just saying. All right, it's time to get into our predictions for the game. Sam Houston at New Mexico State tomorrow night on CBS Sports Network. Before we get into this one, let's go over where we are for the season. Last time they played, Texas was a 39.5-point favorite. Total was 52. Ben had Texas winning 48-7. He had Texas covering, and he had the over. I had Texas 45-3. I had Texas covering, but I didn't have the over. And guess what? The Longhorns put up 55. So for the season, if you are looking for where to place a bet for your gambling night to take a little extra money with you to the Cat Fund event this weekend, Ben is 4-0 against the spread and 3-1 on totals. If you're looking on where not to put your money for this weekend, I am 2-2 against the spread and 1-3 for the total. That's not going to win you a whole hell of a lot. Okay?
No, I think I'm on what they call a heater, right?
You're on a heat. Yes. Yeah, the gamblers, the people. Yeah, you're on a heater. You do far better than I. Vegas lines this week via Bet365. It opened Sam Houston -2.5. The total was 52.5. Now Vegas says that Sam Houston is still the 2.5-point favorite. They haven't changed that any. They raised the total up to 54. So Vegas says Sam Houston wins 28.25 to 25.75, which we know is mathematically impossible in football. So I say 28-26. All right, Benjamin, it's your turn. What say you?
Yeah, this is probably maybe the most difficult one of the year so far. Two very evenly matched teams. I'm picking Sam Houston for the first time this year. I'm going to go 23-22. I don't know why we're going to get to that score, but it's what I feel. So it's a 45-point total with that score. I'm taking the under, and I'll take New Mexico State to cover, but Sam Houston to win.
Wow. Okay. I'm going a little different this week. And I have no idea why. I really don't. But I'm saying Sam Houston, I'm picking them because I think that everything goes in their favor this week. They've got a lot of time off. They've had some good time to get better. They had a get better week. New Mexico State had a get worse week. And I'm taking Sam Houston 31-27 over the Aggies. I've got Sam Houston covering, and I've got it going over.
Wow, we're inverse of each other, but we got the same winner.
We do have the same winner, but now, listen, burner-verse. I'm going to talk to you for just a second. If every burner does not pick Sam Houston, to win and cover, I'm going to be very disappointed in you.
Yeah.
That's not very two things of you if you don't do that. Just saying.
It will not be.
Just saying. That's a wrap for this episode of March to the Pod, presented by Eternal Roofing. Thank you so much to everyone watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, tuning in, listening, wherever you find us. Thank you so much. And again, check out the new Substack page. There's going to be stuff coming out. This gives us a chance to really expand our coverage of the Bearkat athletics for you and for the student athletes, and to shine a light on all the great things going on. Until next time, you guys stay safe, and Ben, take us home.
Yeah, eat 'em up, cats, and the ceiling is the roof here at Sam Houston.
The ceiling. I don't like the roof.